Your breath is the slow heartbeat of this space. Let your mind be like a leaf falling onto a still lake without a sound, with only faint ripples fading into nothingness. Youth, sometimes, is not a lost period of time, but a gentle drawer in the heart where memories are scented with understanding and forgiveness. Right now, there is no past to regret, no future to worry about, only your pure presence within the embrace of soft darkness. Let every burden drift away, making room for the stillness to begin telling its own story. Welcome back to your own peaceful space. Before we step together into the small town of memories, allow your body to rest in the most complete way. Begin by sensing your position right now. You are lying on a soft surface, perhaps a familiar bed or a quiet little corner. Feel the weight of your body slowly sinking down. Your shoulders, which usually carry the many worries of a long day, let them loose now. Imagine a warm, clear stream of water flowing over your shoulders, washing away all stiffness, all pressure. Feel the relief spreading down your arms to the very tips of your fingers. Your fingers are relaxing, no longer clenching, no longer busy. They are resting, completely still. Now, bring your attention to your face. Relax your forehead, letting the wrinkles of thought disappear. Relax your eyes, letting them close gently, like petals closing when night falls. Relax your mouth, letting your breath flow in and out in the most natural way. You do not need to try to do anything at all. Everything is happening exactly as it should. Take a deep breath in, feeling the cool, fresh air fill your chest. That air carries purity, carries the scent of trees and plants after the rain. And as you breathe out, imagine you are discarding everything that is no longer necessary. Each breath out is a letting go. Each breath in is an acceptance of peace. Feel the gentle vibration of the surrounding space. Perhaps it is the steady ticking of a clock or the rustling of leaves outside the window. Those sounds do not disturb you. They are just like a soothing background music, taking you into a deeper state of relaxation. The darkness surrounding you is not scary at all. It is like a smooth velvet blanket, sheltering and protecting you from the noise of the outside world. In this darkness, you are truly yourself, a free and serene soul. The relaxation continues to spread down to your back. Each vertebra seems to stretch out, supported by the softness beneath. Feel the warmth from your abdomen spreading throughout your body. Your legs, the legs that have traveled so many paths, are now also finding absolute rest, from the calves to the ankles, and finally the soles of the feet. You are feeling yourself becoming very light, as if you could float away on a pure white cloud amidst the starry night sky. In this state of relaxation, your mind begins to open the doors of memory, not memories that cause pain or regret, but old film-colored frames, warm and gentle. You find yourself standing at the boundary of a small town where time seems to flow more slowly. There are old brick roads, the scent of autumn and light drizzles. You do not need to hurry, you only need to walk in your mind, slowly, step by step. Imagine you are wearing a warm sweater, your hands tucked deep into your pockets. The air is slightly chilly, but makes you feel strangely alert. You smell the scent of decaying wood, the smell of old book pages, and in the distance, the rich aroma of roasted coffee. All your senses are awakening gently to receive the upcoming story. This is a journey of healing, a journey for us to smile at the past and cherish the present. Everything around you right now carries a color of safety. Pale yellow street lights cast shadows on the wet road, creating shimmering streaks of light. Your footsteps in your mind are very soft. You are moving closer to the coffee shop, the old oak, where a part of youth is waiting to be retold. But before that wooden door opens, spend a little more time sensing this absolute stillness. You are here, you are safe, and you are being loved by your own peace. Each person's youth is like a piece of music, with low notes, high notes, climaxes, and also silences. The silence right now is to prepare for a deeper melody. Let your heart beat rhythmically with your breath. Let your soul be ready to blend into the space of see you in another youth. There is no need to hurry, for time here is infinite. If you feel your soul is gradually becoming lighter, please leave a small message in the comments or press the like button to share this piece with us. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so as not to miss the next sleep-soothing journeys. Thank you for being here in this moment. Now, take one last deep breath for this preparation and breathe out very slowly, very slowly. We will begin to step into that town right now. The door of reality has closed behind you, and now your mind is gently landing in a small town where time seems to have missed its appointment with the haste of the world outside. You find yourself standing on a gray brick street, stones worn down through the years but still holding the warmth of the footsteps that once passed here. The sky is pouring a drizzle. It is not a torrential downpour that makes people run for cover, but a thin mist of water lingering like threads of celestial silk resting lightly on your shoulder. A cool sensation brushes against your skin, a purity seeping into every breath. You lift your hand, feeling the tiny droplets clinging to your fingers, cool and honest. The surrounding space is tinged with the pale blue color of the fading twilight, blurring the sharp edges of ancient houses, turning everything soft and ethereal like a wash painting, you begin to walk. The soles of your shoes tap lightly on the wet road, creating steady tap, tap sounds, rhythmic like a lullaby. On both sides of the road, old wooden signs, paint peeling in places, hang from the eaves. There is a sign in the shape of scissors for a tailor shop, one in the shape of bread for a local bakery. All exude a sense of stillness, a sweet resignation before the flow of time. The scent of this town is very special. It is a blend of the damp earth after the rain, the gentle scent of decaying dry leaves, and most especially the rich aroma of roasted coffee wafting from the end of the street. That scent leads you away like an invisible string pulling you toward the shop, the old oak. You see the warm yellow light glowing from the frosted glass windows of the shop. Amidst the chilly and ethereal space of the rain, that light is like a tiny lighthouse, promising a shelter, a comfort. You stop before the dark wooden door of the coffee shop. The door has swirling wood grains, evidence of the age of an old oak tree that once stood firm through many stormy seasons. You place your hand on the brass doorknob that has faded in color. It is a bit cold, but feels solid. As you push lightly, a tinkling wind chime rings out. King, Lan, Ken. That sound is fragile yet resonant, like a signal opening a drawer of memory that has been locked for so long. Stepping inside, the warm air immediately envelops you. The scent of cinnamon, essential oil blends with the smell of slow-burning pine wood in a small fireplace in the corner of the room, creating a sense of absolute safety. Wordless jazz music plays softly, the volume just enough for you to feel the rhythm but not distract your train of thought. Your eyes gradually adjust to the soft light inside round wooden tables, deep red velvet chairs worn at the edges, and bookshelves rising to the ceiling containing thousands of untold stories. At the table by the window, where one can look out at the street fading into the darkness, a familiar figure is already sitting there. That is Elena. She sits leaning to one side, her gaze distant, watching the raindrops racing each other on the glass. Elena of 10 years later, still carrying a look of composure and something of a romantic melancholy. She wears a cream-colored sweater, her hair tied loosely, and her hands, those hands are still cracking her knuckles unconsciously, a habit from her school days that time could not erase. You approach the wooden floor, making a soft creak beneath your feet. Elena turns around. Your eyes meet. There is no shock, no loud cheering, only a relieved smile, a quiet recognition that both have traveled a long journey together to meet again at this starting point. The light from the table lamp shines down, creating a small halo surrounding the two of you, separating your world from the movement of the universe outside. At that wooden table, 2 hot cups of latte have just been set down. Thin white steam curls dancing in the air before vanishing. You feel the warmth from the porcelain cups transferring through your palms, spreading up your arms and going straight to the heart. This warm feeling is miraculous. It makes all defenses melt, makes the shells of adulthood fall away, leaving only 2 souls from the days of 17 sitting opposite each other. Outside, night has truly fallen. The small town now consists only of shimmering, blurred spots of light through the rain. The space inside the old oak becomes thick with nostalgia. Every breath, every sip of coffee carries the taste of the past. You feel yourself hovering between the present and the old days, a floating and comfortable state. This space was created specifically for monologues, for secrets that have long been hidden in desk drawers or in leather-bound notebooks. Let yourself sink deeper into this velvet chair. Allow the sound of the rain and the jazz music to carry you into a state of absolute relaxation. You are no longer an observer. You have become a part of this space, a part of the story of Maya, Elena, and old friends. This space is yours. This peace is yours. Just let yourself go with the flow of emotions as gently and naturally as possible. Everything is ready. The main story is about to begin, like a slow motion film gradually appearing against a backdrop of silence. You only need to listen, only need to feel, and only need to let your heart vibrate with every beat of the tale. In the cozy atmosphere of the old oak, as the last drops of latte begin to cool, our story starts to unfold like the worn pages of an old book. 10 years is a long enough time for a child to grow up, long enough for a city to change its shape, but it seems not long enough to erase the deep imprints of age 17 in my mind and Elena's. That year, this town felt incredibly vast in our eyes. Our group was a perfect isosceles triangle. Me, Maya, Elena, and Liam. We were not just friends, but a bonded entity. I still clearly remember those afternoons after school, the 3 of us cycling on sloped roads, laughter dissolving into the wind. Liam was always the one in the middle, like an invisible but sturdy thread of connection. He had large, warm hands and an ever-present smile, strong enough to chase away any fleeting sadness in those 2 girls. Back then, my world revolved around simple things: a difficult math test, a new movie in theaters, or which strawberry milk Liam would buy for me during break time. I enjoyed Liam's care so naturally that it became thoughtless. I took for granted that he's always giving me the shadiest seat, or he's always remembering my tiniest preferences was a privilege of a long-standing friendship. I never wondered why he did those things. I was too busy with my own private illusions. Meanwhile, Elena, my closest friend, was a mysterious silence. Elena didn't often speak of her feelings. She would usually sit beside us, scribbling doodles in her notebook or watching quietly. I thought she was happy in that stillness until that fateful afternoon. It was a late afternoon of classroom duty. The amber sunset stretching long through the classroom windows, dying gold, even the tiny dust motes dancing in the air. Elena forgot her workbook and asked me to get it for her. When my hand touched her desk drawer, what I found was not a math book, but a dark blue leather notebook, old and unlocked. A childish curiosity, a bit of youthful impulsiveness led me to open it. Under that pale golden light, Elena's neat handwriting appeared, blurred by tear stains. Today Liam looked at Maya a little longer. My heart tightened. Why is the person he likes my best friend? I love him, but I also love Maya. This silence is killing me. I remember the feeling then, my hands trembling, the notebook nearly falling to the wooden floor. A shock rippled through my body. It turned out that behind Elena's silence was a storm of the heart. It turned out that Liam's care for me was not merely friendship, and most painfully, my best friend had been silently enduring a one-sided heartache right beside my obliviousness. But ironically, my heart at that time was not directed toward Liam. I was immersed in admiration for Victor, a graduate from an upper class. Victor was like a strange wind blowing into my peaceful life. He had a radiant smile, deep eyes, and the air of someone who had seen the vast world out there. Every message from Victor, every time he visited the school to play basketball and looked toward me, made my heart skip a beat. I believed I was the most special person in his eyes. The biggest mistake of youth is not that we love the wrong person, but the way we treat the feelings of others. A week after snooping in the diary, during a small argument about choosing a place to go for the weekend, I let it slip. When Elena tried to defend Liam's opinion, I said in a tone full of pity, "You always listen to Liam, even though you know he never looks at you that way, right?" The space then seemed to freeze. Elena's face went pale. Her eyes looked at me with a deep disappointment that I will never forget. She didn't cry, didn't shout. She only said softly, "Maya, I'm not angry because Liam likes you. Feelings cannot be forced. I'm angry because you stepped into my most private world without permission. You turned my pain into something for you to pity." From that moment, an invisible but sturdy wall was built between us. Liam was still there, still kind, but I began to avoid him because of the encircling guilt. Every time he looked at me, I saw Elena's pained face in the diary. As for Victor, when that summer ended and he left to study in France, the promises and special attention vanished into thin air. He left without a formal goodbye, leaving me with a sense of emptiness and the realization that, in his story, I was only a faint supporting character. Our trio drifted apart right before graduation day. We still stood next to each other in the commemorative photo, but the smiles no longer reached our eyes. Each person carried a fragment, stepping onto different turning points of life. Elena took a sip of coffee, her gaze pulling me back to the present. "Do you remember Liam?" she asked. I nodded slightly. How could I forget? I heard he married a primary school teacher in his hometown. Elena smiled, a truly serene smile. Yes, they have a very peaceful home. He looks very happy with that choice. And Victor? I sighed gently. Victor settled in France. He has 3 children. Thinking back to then, I cried my eyes out for someone who didn't even remember my middle name. We were so foolish, weren't we? We looked out the window together. Time truly is a talented doctor. It not only heals wounds, but also helps us look back at the past through a gentler lens. We realized that the missing out at 17 was not a tragedy, but an arrangement of fate. In the emotional chess game of that year, Elena loved Liam, Liam loved me, I loved Victor, and Victor loved a future without me, a strange, one-sided circle. If that day I had responded to Liam out of pity, or if Victor had chosen to stay because of me, perhaps we would not have the maturity and peace we have now. Elena placed her hand on the back of my hand, warmth spreading. Back then, I was angry at you for a long time, but later I realized that diary was actually a burden I had carried for too long. You reading it, though a mistake, set me free. I no longer had to play the role of the strong best friend in front of you two. I felt a stone that had weighed on my heart for so long suddenly vanish. I'm sorry, Elena, for the foolish curiosity and for not being subtle enough to protect our friendship. Don't apologize anymore, Elena interrupted. Our present selves both have our own lives, people to love and protect. The tangles of those days are now just a funny story to retell on a rainy afternoon like this. We sat there, amidst the scent of coffee and the sound of rain, feeling the connection being mended. Youth is not a destination, but a journey of learning how to love, how to be wrong, and how to forgive. We lost our first love, lost our innocent illusions, but we found each other again, the people who went through the most brilliant season of life together. Our story doesn't have a fairy tale ending where everyone gets the person they love, but it has a more realistic and humane ending, maturity. We learned that there are people who should only appear in one stretch of our life to teach us how to grow up. Liam taught me about sincere warmth. Victor taught me about the harshness of reality, and Elena taught me about forgiveness. Outside, The town lights had come on. The rain-slicked streets reflected shimmering light like rivers of stars. We stood up, put our coats back on, preparing to step out into the chilly night. But this time, my heart was no longer heavy. I knew that even though we go in different directions, the fragment of memory about the old oak shop and this meeting would forever be a warm anchor in the soul. Youth has passed, but its aftertaste remains, a blend of sweetness and bitterness, like the cups of latte we just finished. We walked out the door. The wind chime rang again, but this time it was no longer a call from the past, but a greeting for a peaceful present. As the wooden door of the old oak closed behind us, the wind chime rang once more, but this time the sound no longer carried the tone of regret. It was light as air, dissolving into the space like a confirmation that what needed to be said had been said, and what needed to be let go had truly been released. Elena and I stood under the small eaves, looking out at the town road, blurring in the yellow light and the drifting mist of rain. This is the moment of intersection, where the brilliant past and the quiet present touch one last time before vanishing into the night. We stood close to each other, feeling the warmth from each other's shoulders, a connection without need for words. Over 10 years, each person had built a separate world with their own worries, joys, and new faces. The Maya of the present was no longer the impulsive, clumsy girl in handling emotions. Elena was no longer the quiet young woman hiding her pain in neat diary lines. Everything seems to be gradually vanishing, not the vanishing of memory, but the vanishing of the negative emotions that once clung to those memories. Elena's unrequited pain, my emptiness regarding Victor, or the guilt weighing down for a decade, all are evaporating like the thin smoke from the coffee cups earlier. We realized that the people we loved so passionately at 17 were actually silhouettes woven from our own innocence and longing. "Do you see?" Elena whispered, her breath turning into a thin mist in the chilly air. "The town is still the same, but we are different, and that is a good thing." I smiled, the most peaceful smile I've ever had. Yes, change is the evidence that we have lived fully. The straight lines that once intersected at a single point called youth, then rushed off in opposite directions, have now found their own peaceful harbors. Liam has his own small family. Victor belongs to another horizon, and we two friends who once had a rift can now stand next to each other, sharing a tight hug to close an old chapter. That hug carried the scent of rain, of warm sweater fabric, and of forgiveness. It is the final connection, joining the fragments into a beautiful block of memory. In that moment, I felt as if I were floating. The world around me blurred. The houses, the roads, and the streetlights became only shimmering, smudged streaks of color. Only the feeling of relief was most vividly present. Everything is gradually dissolving into nothingness. The shadows of Liam, Victor, or the image of us in high school uniforms are drifting away, returning to their rightful place. The drawer named youth. We do not carry them into a reality full of daily bread and butter worries, for they deserve to be kept in the eternity of the past. Chúng tôi buông tay, mỉm cười chào tạm biệt. Elena bước về phía con phố bên trái. Bóng dáng cô ấy mờ dần rồi tan hẳn vào màn đêm lung linh. Tôi quay người đi về hướng ngược lại. Mỗi bước chân đều cảm thấy nhẹ nhàng hơn bao giờ hết. Không còn sự lưu luyến, không còn những câu hỏi giá như, chỉ còn lại sự biết ơn sâu sắc. Vì đã có một thời để nhớ và một hiện tại để nâng niu. We let go of each other's hands and smiled goodbye. Elena walked toward the street on the left, her figure fading and then vanishing completely into the shimmering night. I turned and walked in the opposite direction, every step feeling lighter than ever before. No more lingering, no more what-ifs, only a deep gratitude for having a time to remember and a present to cherish. The space around you right now is also gradually becoming thinner. The images of the coffee shop, of Elena, or the rainy roads begin to fade. You are returning to your room, to the silence of the night, but carrying a heart that has been washed, pure and unusually peaceful. Now, as the final sounds of the drizzling town have receded, you are returning completely to the absolute silence of your room. Let your body sink deeper into the soft support of the bed. The space around you seems to be dissolving, making way for an atmosphere thick with peace. Youth has finished its mission. It has finished telling its story, and now it gently covers your soul with a blanket of insight. You realize that, as it turns out, the most beautiful ending to a love without a happy end, or a friendship once cracked, is not a forced mending, but a serenity when mentioning each other. We once thought that not having the one we loved at 17 was a great loss, but in reality, that was fate's way of protecting the most beautiful memories for you. There are people who are only brilliant and perfect when standing in the frame of the past. If brought into the reality of worries, of mundane daily trifles, perhaps their romance would have vanished long ago. Let your consciousness float like a thread of silk in mid-air. No more gravity, no more compulsion. All regrets about accidentally opening a diary or a word unintentionally hurting someone, let them vanish with your breath. Youth is the privilege of mistakes. It is those very mistakes that molded the version of you today, more mature, gentler, and knowing how to cherish existing values. The regret you once carried is the evidence of a kind heart that has grown. Now, feel the darkness gently soothing your eyes. A deep darkness, yet full of warmth and safety. In this darkness, every image of Maya, Elena, Liam, or Victor becomes only tiny spots of light like distant stars in the night sky. They do not dazzle you, they only sparkle to remind you that you once loved, once lived, and once gave your all for someone. That is a gift, not a burden. Time does not erase memories, it only rearranges their positions. The agonizing pains of the past have now shrunk, turning into a faint scar, no longer hurting, only occasionally throbbing like a soft echo of the soul. You smile at that scar, for it is a part of the journey of being human. Youth is not lost, it is only transforming into the silence and depth within your soul right now. You do not need to seek it anywhere far away. It lies right in your steady breath, in the peace you are feeling. Let your mind be empty. Let yourself melt into the night. A warm feeling spreads from your heart throughout your body, soothing every cell, leading you into a deep and dreamless sleep. You are drifting, drifting into the sea of temporary forgetfulness. There is no time there, no space, only absolute rest. Sleep well, peaceful soul. Sleep well, beautiful memories. Tomorrow when you wake up, you will be a new person, full of energy and a love for life, carrying the silence of tonight as your luggage. Thank you for walking with me through the entire journey of youth and forgiveness. If this story has helped you find peace, please come back here tomorrow morning to share your feelings. Don't forget to leave a good night wish for other friends in our community in the comments. Your presence is invaluable to the channel. I wish you a very good sleep and the gentlest dreams. Now, relax completely. Sink deep, deeper still. Sleep now.